David Elliott, Luke Wright, from Cara Cruise. Probably Terrigal's most recent arrival in dining experiences.
It would be, yeah.
I'm going to start. The brains and, well, no, not to suggest you don't have brains in this, but he's got brains and brains and money.
Yeah.
You got brains. Okay, so we'll just establish that. Let's talk about investing in Terrigal. It's a tough environment. What were you thinking, David?
It came from something growing up on the coast. Both of us are local guys. What was on offer in Terrigal, I don't think matched the general population in Terrigal. There's a market in Terrigal that weren't really being catered for. There's some restaurants doing some great things, but in the heart of Terrigal, there wasn't really that professional casual dining atmosphere that was our passion and what we wanted to bring to the coast.
Okay.
So we set on a bit of a path to do something different in the area.
Okay. Let's talk specifically about that, because it's even changed in the last 3 months from what people have been. Luke, the objective of this mix of dining, but professional dining experiences, tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so basically you've got Terrigal and the whole Central Coast region, and there's a lot of fine dining restaurants, and there's also a lot of your takeaway sort of, very fast restaurants. But there's a big gap in the middle there of really good quality that's in a casual environment and casually and that's something you focus more around about socially dining and that sort of thing. And so what we did was we said, okay, well, we've got this restaurant, we've got the tapas culture, let's continue on that, but also offer this upstairs venue as the cocktail lounge and a premier venue on the Central Coast for that sort of thing. And so what it is basically, we're offering a casual restaurant downstairs and also a lovely plush environment for cocktail lounge upstairs.
And a function. The cocktail lounge runs constantly?
The cocktail lounge currently is open Friday and Saturday nights,
okay,
and we operate the rest of the week with functions, that sort of thing. So yeah,
So the three areas of the business really are the communal tapas restaurant downstairs, which is, I guess, good quality ingredients assembled well in a relaxed atmosphere. And then upstairs we've got the cocktail lounge on Friday and Saturday nights. It's completely table service. There's no lining up for drinks. There's no shoulder to shoulder, standing in groups. It's more relaxed lounge style. Everyone gets a seat, everyone gets a lounge, table service, so you don't have to go to the bar. So that's something completely different.
And you mentioned you've taken partners into this, brands coming in and being part of the. Tell us a little about that.
That was quite a process. It went over probably 6 months to select the right sponsors. Sponsors is the word they use. It's really, it's more about co-branding and a home for their product. So one of our key ones is Moet Chandon Champagne. They've got a number of sister labels in Champagne that they also provide, up to your Dom Perignons and some of your big champagnes. But they also brought with them Belvedere Vodka, Hennessy Cognacs, some of your main luxury brands. And that process was starting with dragging a Sydney rep to the Central Coast was always the first challenge, always the first hurdle. We sat down together and told them about what we were trying to create and what we're trying to do. And then from there you go through to the sales manager and then the national brand manager, because it's really about co-branding the venue. So you'll notice in our venue we've got some great items there with the Moet Chandon label on it. We provide it by the glass, which is quite rare, and we can do that because of the support they offer to their brands.
It smacks of, like, this is a big national brand, it just happens to be in Terrigal at the moment. Is that the plan?
It's what do you mean?
Sorry, I come from a franchising background, and the combination of dining experiences and the fact that you've got.
You mean our brand? Is there plans for our brand?
Yeah.
There is in the future. I mean, we will see if we get the recipe right first on the first one. As you said, we're sort of only recently 3 months ago opened the upstairs lounge, so we've now got what we call the complete venue, and it was always the goal. So now that we've got the complete venue, we sort of listen to the locals, we listen to what they want and what their needs are, and we will tailor the venue to meet their needs. So there's still some evolution over the next 6 months, but we'll work through that over summer.
So who should come to you? And you mentioned earlier that hey, you've opened this because you were sick and tired of driving to Sydney. You actually didn't say that's why you opened it.
Yeah.
But It sounds like you'll win, some dissatisfied pub visitors who are looking for something a little more intimate, or is that?
Yeah, it was interesting. We probably made the mistake early on of somewhat pigeonholing who our client was. And that was a lesson that we learned pretty quickly, that there's a broad range of people that are looking for something different. So there's not really an age group. We're sort of your late 20s through to 60, but it's more about sharing a common desire for that culture. It's more that hospitality culture that unfortunately there's only a select few on the coast that are providing that. So it's more people that really like the communal side of what we do. It's not so much just sitting at table of two and ignoring everyone else. We do try and promote that, saw you last week, g'day, how you going, and interact amongst our clientele. So that's something important. So it seems to be a bit of a recipe we're putting together at the moment. There's plans to maybe grow that brand as we can, but at the moment our sole focus is on the Central Coast and really providing something different in Terrigal. So.
Because we're a fan of Reviver in Gosford. Have you been there?
Definitely. The day they opened, went in and said congratulations. They're doing really well there, and again that's one of the venues that I talk about doing something differently.
Yeah, and we need it on the coast, so let's focus on that.
Yeah.
In 12 months' time, well, no, let's go back. Let's look. You mentioned one of the things you tried to pigeonhole, or you try. From someone in a marketing background, you tried to target your market probably a little too heavily.
Yeah.
Other than that, what have you learned? Because this is your first foray into
it sure is, yes.
Hospitality or restaurant.
I've got a list a mile long of what I've learned in hospitality, but
well, tell us about that, because going out there, who people who are thinking about this, and well, I may try and talk them out of it. What have you learned? What's been the big learning?
The big learning curve is, for us, coming to the realisation nothing's going to go to plan. That was the first step for us. We had some delays in the process of needing to focus. We wanted to do downstairs and upstairs at about the same time. We ended up delaying upstairs for around 6 months because we felt that we needed to focus on the downstairs restaurant and get that right. And so it's.
Has that been a disadvantage or advantage, do you think?
It's probably been a disadvantage to the hip pocket, but it's probably been an advantage to the brand and the restaurant, I think. It's probably the fairest way to put it.
Definitely.
We've been able to focus on getting things right, which is important to us, because again, we did it because it was something we believed in. It was something we wanted to do on the coast. We've seen a number of other efforts where someone's tried to do something different and then changed what they set out to achieve, and so we've done our best to stay fairly strong at what we're trying to achieve.
Cool. Luke, from staffing point of view, you're at the pointy end of the stick. We talk about staff shortages in manufacturing and other industries. How is it in hospitality?
The same.
Is it?
Short answer, but no, look, it's definitely, the hospitality industry at the moment is going through a bit of a lot of changes and that sort of thing, and speaking to everyone in the industry that I know, everyone's in the same boat in the sense of it is hard to find chefs, it is hard to find good front of house staff and that sort of thing.
Where are they? They can't all be working in the coal mines.
That's the question. Where are they? Exactly. I think I know a lot of people who have changed industries and that sort of thing. But I also know a lot of people who have done what you said and gone to coal mines for them chasing the dollar. It's a good question, but they are.
Do we pay? And this is talking. Do we pay enough to attract? Because it is a vital industry for the Central Coast. $750 million a year come in for tourism and hospitality. We have issues with the allowances for Sundays, Saturdays, whatever, holidays. But is it bigger than that? Do we pay enough?
I think the industry generally is a bit of a labour of love. It's really it's not an easy job. It's definitely, I'm exposed to a number of different industries and areas, and the hospitality isn't an easy one. I take my hat off to the people that do it, Luke especially. It really comes down to your passion for it. The awards and things like that are in place. I believe are the actual pay rates are quite fair. I think part of the problem is the way it's structured. It's structured around a business Monday to Friday when hospitality isn't. So at the end of the day, I think the pay rates are fair and reasonable for the roles, but I think there needs to be more flexibility in the award for the type of business it is. And I know that there's a lot of people, including the Restaurant and Catering Association, pushing for that flexibility. But you know, I think it's. You know, mind you, it's easy for me to say when I'm not there doing it, but...
well, your other interest is stealing some of those people away anyway, so take account for that too.
Yeah, might have stolen a couple.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, there's a lot of things on that topic, but, you know, a big one is you got to remember a lot of the industry isn't actually full-time. A lot of, I think the majority of the industry, in fact, is sort of a second job. They do it on the weekends, or they do it as a second job, and then they get taxed heavier, and that's a whole another reason why it's hard to get staff as well in hospitality. And you know, when you find those people that are as passionate as you are, and it's not about, you know, the hours and all that sort of thing, it's that's where you have good staff members, and that's where you got to hold on to them. And
okay, the marketing side is going to be a challenge. You're coming into a fairly busy stage now. Do you have any strategies you can share?
We do. We've actually teamed up with a local firm, Brilliant Logic. They're a great firm and a great team of local people. So we're going to work with them in promoting the venue and thinking a little bit outside the square on how we do that. We'll be what we call sneak peek events. So we'll be inviting people to sneak peek on what the latest and greatest is and what we're up to. Also, we're building a database at the moment where we can keep people up to date on general local news, but also what we're particularly up to in the restaurant, a bit about people joining us and things like that. So although you might not have met them before, they're a familiar face when you turn up to the restaurant.
Social media, is that part of it? I know Louise.
It is. Yeah, it is a big part of what we do in hospitality. And
who drives that? Not you, I hope.
It's a combined effort. Actually, Luke definitely is the main guy that will respond to most of the inquiry through Facebook, and we've been surprised at actually the amount of inquiry that does come through social media. We thought, it was probably me that made the mistake of thinking it was more of an outlet for what we wanted to tell people. What we've found is it's actually a place where people actually will inquire about bookings or what's going on, and we actually get a lot of private messages, which was great to see. So we have built our social media presence, and it's important for the future, but it's also for our target market or the general, you know, target market that we have is thinking outside the square on email databases and communication when they're at the venue as well. So letting them know what we're up to.
Okay. We look forward to hearing from you in 12 months' time.
Yep.
And we'll compare notes then.
Yeah, great. Sounds good. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Excellent.